All right. No, you did not read the title wrong because the title is right. I know a lot of people can feel uncomfortable, but if you hear me out, you'll understand. Before I start elaborating further, I want to just get right into the dream. And then I can add further things after that if need be. So last night I had a dream. And in the dream, I don't know what pieces are important or not important, but I do know my response in the dream is very important because it was very real. It was what I would say right now if I was talking to someone right now. And now that I'm alert, can pinch myself, okay. In the dream, there was a friend of mine that we grew up with. I won't say his name. I don't know the relevance of him or just, somebody got to be in the dream. But his name began with a P. And in the dream, because growing up, all we did was play sports. And I ain't talking about professional, but, you played football, you played basketball, you ran up and down the road with no shoes on. That's what you did. But anyway, in the dream, he's there. And somewhere in the dream, because we about to play ball outside, another friend comes over. No one that I really know. I think it was more of a friend of his, but somebody whose face I seen. And this is where the dream isn't real. This friend rose up in like a luxurious limo type setting. I mean, like, just he got dropped off by I guess his dad or somebody, I don't know. But and so that part of the dream wasn't real, I would say. But this person got dropped off. And so while we sit out there, right, the conversation, I'm listening, but they're talking to me and whatever other little people may be in the dream. And what they're talking about is a very common subject amongst boys and men. And it's about smashing girls. And I'm saying it that way. But to be frank, just so we understand, it's about sleeping with multiple women, multiple girls. So that's what they're talking about, right? And they're talking about, different things about women, how pretty they are, this, that, So that's a very popular subject in my growing up, and that's probably still the same today. But nevertheless, I'm sitting there and I'm listening to them. And they're talking to me for approval or disapproval, right? Because in a sense of, do you feel me? But I don't never say anything. I don't never say anything. I'm just standing there. And at some point, I process. Now, this is real. We just had a Bible study last night, literally, with the church, with my church, where it was about being quick to listen and slow to speak. And so the reason I'm not saying what I'm feeling when they're talking is because I'm actually, I'm being for real, I'm actually choosing to make sure I don't just start speaking on my own because of what I want to say. Then there come a point that, and this is where this is important. At some point, I'm about to say or want to say my response to all of this, but I kind of question warning someone I don't really know, which would be not the person I grew up with, but the person that a friend of a friend, meaning more of his friend. I don't know if I want them to hear my testimony because it's about to get personal. And so that right there would be the first thing. It is not said in the word of God that we ought to pick and choose who our testimony is for. Our testimony is our testimony. And so whether it was shame or embarrassment or whatever it could have possibly been at that particular moment in the dream, I want to say, no, our testimonies cannot be silenced because of who's around and how people may respond to your testimony. Never that. Nevertheless, At some point later in the dream, just, because I remember all the gray area in there, I wound up saying to the friend that I know, let me tell you how I feel about this. And so now this is my response. I'm telling him straight up. I can't remember if others are still there to get it or not, but I'm talking to him straight. And I told him straight up like this. Listen, this is not a good thing. Going around, and this is not word for word, but I'm getting to the point on how I responded to him. I let him know, this is not a good thing to just go around sleeping with women, just sleeping with them, because real people come out of that. And we're talking about children. And I tell them like this, I told him my testimony that, I have a child that was raped. And though I was there in the home, but before we get to the point of me being there in the home, I want to take him back to where boys and men just sleep with women, but they're not in the home with their children. But what I wanted him to hear is things can and will happen to your children, but you're not there. But you did get your pleasures of life by sleeping with this person and sleeping with that person. And don't fall for the trickery of, well, use protection and strap it up. And, there's the plan B that the woman, don't fall for any of that. Because in addition to children, there's other things that can come out of sleeping around. Diseases, just dishonoring yourself. But I wanted to keep it on children in this particular discussion. Keeping it on children. Now, I brought him back to, yes, I was a dad in the home with his children. I'm in the home with my children. But I was a absentee dad in a sense of really being there. So what I'm letting them know is, listen, yes, one, being that dad that, you got this child, you out of wedlock, a child needs both parents when possible in the home to raise them. And a lot of times men don't want to give up that lifestyle, right? What lifestyle? The streets. Still doing your own thing, right? I got a child, but I can do this. I got a child, but I can still do that. And the thing is, that child actually needs you to relinquish all of your lifestyles. Yes, your child needs you. They need your undivided attention on a whole nother level. There's a relationship that need to be built where you know your child, even in discussion. I mean, like in a telephone call, you know your child. It doesn't take your child to really get in depth of a conversation with you for you to know something is wrong, more so, but also to know where they're going with the conversation or something like that. But this takes building a relationship. And how you going to build this relationship? And I was this dad. I want to tell you, I was the dad that, yes, my children had material things, but I was doing my own thing in life. I love my children. At least I say I did, but I can tell you today, that's not real love. If that wasn't real love, me putting out every dollar, that I had towards my children to make sure they got toys, to make sure they got this, to make sure they got money in their wallet, to make sure they got the flyers, clothes, but I'm not there to feed them, to nurture them. When I say feed them, I'm talking about mentally, to make them feel secure, for them also to see an example of how you treat your spouse, right? Yeah, which would be my girlfriend at a time and then my wife at a time. You know what I'm saying? They've been with us through both. When she's my girlfriend, she become my wife. They didn't get to see a good example of that, okay? And though they don't know that when they're growing up, looking back, they'll be able to know when they know better. Like, that was a bad example, Dad. That wasn't a good example, Dad, and everything. So this is what your children need. So I'm letting him know that, one, just going around smashing women, for that self, it's all about self. It's not a good look. Don't worry about stacking up the numbers. So when you talk to your homeboys, you can match them girl for girl and so forth. Don't none of that means anything. It's all emptiness. It's all something's missing. The fact that you need that much qualification or whatever it whatever the case may be, the reason why a person does that and everything, and the reason why they can't commit, all right, commit in a relationship to one woman and so forth, right? But this is still not about, I'm not here to talk about marriage and so forth. What I'm talking about is, it's not a good look just going around sleeping with women, sleeping with girls, however you want to put it, because real children come out of that. And now real children have to grow up, and real children needs their dads in their lives. And though you may feel, well, I'm a dad on the weekend, it's not enough. That may be your reality, but it's not enough. When we're talking about what a child needs you to, hey, you know what? Here's the thing. Take your old lifestyle, Dad, whatever it may be that's not beneficial to my growth. And the child isn't saying, I'm speaking for the child. The child isn't saying hang it up in the closet. The child is saying, go ahead and throw it in the trash. Get rid of it. Because I'm not going anywhere. Meaning, you may feel like, well, when you turn 18, I can take it back. No, I'm going to still need you when I turn 18, Dad. When I turn 24, I'm going to still need you. So don't hang up your old lifestyle, but go ahead and get rid of that. I'm your new lifestyle. And so that's the gist of the dream of what I wound up letting the young man know, but any others that was here. But that was my real response. That is unhealthy. And think about children. Do I believe, had I been more involved in my child's life, I'm there. I'm not, when I wasn't, I look at it like this. I'm physically there, but mentally not. That's the way I put it. I'm physically there. They see me. I'm in the home. I come home. But mentally, I'm not. Because mentally, I'm out here doing my thing. Right? I went about my next move, this and that and so forth. Rather than sitting down with them, talking to them, having that conversation with them, knowing them internally, extensively. Just beyond measures and so forth. And a lot of dads, we're not doing that, and we have not done that. And we glorify spending that dollar. That's one of the main things. We glorify spending that dollar. Long as you spent that dollar and your child is the flyest, the this and that, let me tell you something. That just means something to us. Us. Yes, children appreciate these things, but I'm going to tell you, I know today, children have real feelings, real thoughts. They wish more of this. But see, the thing is, when they're younger, they don't get the opportunity to voice that. They don't get the opportunity to say that. So you don't know that until they become adults. And now you're hearing all of it. And if you're the right type of dad, you don't try to put on them, you should have told me. You recognize they couldn't tell you. There was no time. You was never there. You didn't sit down with them and so forth and everything. So I say to anyone out there, any men, boys, don't do it. It ain't necessary. Don't go around just sleeping with girls, women. It's not a hobby like the basketball that we played growing up. Wait, value. Think about future. Be thoughtful about your future, about others' future. Be thoughtful about unborn children that could be born out of your actions and so forth. So that's what I would say. And I'm speaking from my own personal experience. You know, we say this, and I say it, and I mean it. If I could do it over, obviously, right, knowing what I know today, not what I've had to go through. No, no, no. The damage I've caused is what I'm talking about. The damage in things that my children were subject to, my wife was subject to, not being there to feed them more, and nurturing and giving them the attention that they needed and that was necessary. Yeah, you know all this now, right? But here's the thing. You can still now take what you know and give it to someone else. And if you could just reach someone, that someone hear you and they stop what they doing, or they never enter into doing such because they believe you. What you say, they value that. Then, amen. Excuse me. Amen. So that's the gist of that. Enough has been said. I won't elaborate too much further, but that's the dream I had. So what would I wrap this up with? One, as in my dream, my testimony, there was a point of me silencing my testimony for whatever reason. Embarrassment, total strangers hearing this about what, no. Your testimony is your testimony. Don't let Satan silence your testimony, ever. And two, be real with people. Tell them the truth. Tell them the truth. If something ain't right, tell them straight up. Don't sugarcoat. Tell them straight up. Don't do this. Or you wouldn't advise for it. And sometimes people don't need surface answers. They need in-depth answers. People like to give surface answers sometimes, right? They'll say, yeah, man, because in my life, blah, 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 but they don't give you nothing concrete. So though they said they said something, they didn't give you enough substance, right? Because they are holding back. And so my hope would be people start holding back, right? You want to be used of God or you don't. You want to be used of God or you don't. I want to be used of God, right? Do you want people to be better in life, to excel in life, to do things differently than you did in life? If that, then give it to them. Whatever happened has already happened. So give it to them straight. Don't hold nothing back. I pray that the Lord blesses this because it's all to the glory of him. I knew when I got up this morning, before I got up, even in my dream, I knew I had to put this out. As I'm still laying there in the bed. This dream was real. It was real. So that's my real response in the dream that I would say to anyone today. Don't do it. Don't do it. Because children are real. And we're not going to say consequences. We're not going to call children consequences. What children wind up having to do is deal with the consequences of a reckless father, a reckless dad. Because they're the ones who have to take the hit when you're not doing it right, when you're not raising them right, when you're trying to raise them from a distance, and it's just on and on and on. When you're just being the wrong type of an example and everything. But even in doing it wrong, so long as you're alive and well, you can turn. I want to put that. Yeah, that's very important. You can change, even if the world never accept your change. There's some people who just gonna hold what you used to do. They're gonna bring it up. That's the only thing they can bring up. What you used to do. 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 Even though you're doing something totally new, you're doing everything right. You're fighting to do right. They still just gonna, because that's the only thing they got. And they're down in their life. So they need you to come back where you once were with them on that same platform. But don't do it. Pay them no mind. You keep excelling so you can turn things around and so forth. All right? Yeah, I got to get to work.